Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So today's topic is going to be on human embryonic development. So does anyone know what the topic is or what it means? You probably heard about it in biology. No? Okay. So we'll go through it. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the Quran and translation of Al-Mu'minun, which tells you all about this topic. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد خلقنا الإنسان من صلة من طين ثم جعلناه نطفة في قرار مكين ثم خلقنا النطفة علقة فخلقنا العلقة مضغة فخلقنا المضغة عظاما فكسونا عظام لحمه ثم أنشأناه خلقا آخر فتبارك الله أحسن الخالقين. So the translation of this is, we created man out of the extract of clay, then we made him into a drop of life germ, then we placed it in a safe depository, then we made this drop into a clot, then we made the clot into a lump, then we made the lump into bones, then we clothed the bones with flesh, and then we caused it to grow into another creation. Thus most blessed is Allah, the best of all those that create. Does anyone know what the topic is or what this means?
Like how Allah made us from only from clay and like his miracles and what he did from the seed.
Yeah, so this topic is going to show you about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has formed us. So when we were just in the womb and how we all formed together. So that's what I'm going to be going through, and I'll be going through all the stages and all the weeks. So the embryology in the Quran, so the different phases. So in Surah Mu'minun, it says to have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in his angels, books and messengers, and in morality in the hereafter, whether to be in Jannah or Jahannam. So obviously we believe in the Quran, we believe everything that it says, what we believe in from the second Shahada, which says that, and we automatically believe it because we believe in the Quran as Muslims, and obviously reading the translation as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obviously from the last topic as well, we know that he created plants and all kinds of vegetation. He created cattle with udders full of milk to drink. He made their flesh edible and made them serve numerous purposes for mankind. So this surah indicates that man was created from an extract of clay, and it shows the development until it turns into a creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made everyone the same way. So the same way that we process in the womb, that's the same way that everyone in this room or anyone else in the world has been created. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make anyone that different. So all of us as humans were all created that way. So this is showing the start of the weeks. So this is from weeks 4 to 8. So I'm not sure if you can see it from here. Yeah, you can see it from here. So you can see how the heart begins to beat, how the arm buds appear, and how we all form within week to week. And isn't it just amazing how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made certain weeks for all of this to develop? Like how we're able to just develop every week, like how we're able to have hands and then fingers, and then how, you know, we all form. It's just amazing how it's actually created as well. And the fetus was created as a miniature version of itself from the female's menstrual blood, only from the male sperm. So this surah refers to the creation of the 7 heavens, an unseen truth, and all this knowledge and science only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that made all this knowledge and science, and obviously, I'm sure most of you guys that are in high school or learned it a bit in primary school as well about the biology and, you know, how the baby forms in the womb and how the weeks go on as well. So I could see some of you guys know about it, yeah. So the process of creation is said to be in 5 different phases. So that is a leech, bloodsucker. But I'll be going on to that during the few slides. So going through the process of creation. So first, the nutfa, the sperm drops, it is fertilized, and then as the sperm drops, which it grows by division to what can be termed as a morula, this phase lasts for a week. So the second phase is the clot, so the leech-like structure. So as Aisha pointed out from the image, it's marked by the blastula to the walls of the uterus on the 6th day after fertilization, and it lasts for around 2 to 3 weeks. And it looks like a leech parasite. So what you can see from here from the image, that's what it would look like. And the third phase is the chewed up morsel phase. So this happens on the 26th day when they're sometimes developed and gives the embryo the shape of a little lump of flesh chewed by teeth that left their prints on it. So obviously, as you can see during a scan as well of the baby during the 3rd month, you can just see what the baby looks like and how it forms. But that's through the first 3 or 4 months of how it comes together. But basically, when you're in the womb, you're basically a lump. So what are the phase of bones in creation and covering up with flesh? So the 4th phase commences from the end of the 4th week and it finished at the end of the 8th week. And this is where the active process of this phase reaches its climax by the end of the 8th week. So basically the cartilage bones start to develop. So your bones start to develop, but it's in the womb and it continues spreading throughout the whole body of the embryo, and the bones start to become clothed with flesh, muscle, skin, and this happens in the 7th and 8th week. So as you go along, you're starting to, instead of becoming, you know, just a lump, you're also starting to grow the skin and the bones that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for you to make that movement. And, you know, when you're born and you grow up, you think how blessed and thankful you are for having, you know, skin and bones and flesh, being able to be healthy, because then you're able to do normal activities that you normally would do on a daily basis as well. So you kind of think about how thankful you are that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you this life. So the creation phase. So through this image, so I hope this helps as well. So I kind of went through week 3 to week 24 about how we're developing in the womb as well. So the embryo's length reaches 30 millimeters. So the skeleton becomes fully developed and covered, and the internal organs are most developed on primal basis and have taken their places with the embryo's body. And the embryo undergoes the fetus phase, which starts, and then a few weeks later, that is the delivery process of the baby. So within 9 months, whether you're born early or late, that undergoes the delivery process of how you become a baby afterwards.
What's that for?
Which one?
The thing.
That's supposed to be the uterus, and then it shows like the stomach and how the baby is a lump, how it develops throughout each of those weeks. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and then we brought it forth as another creation. So blessed is Allah and the best of creators. So everything starts to grow within the few months that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has planned it to be. So, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided whether you should be in this world or not, whether, you know, if you're, you know, there might be something wrong with the baby, there might be a miscarriage, or, you know, there might be stillbirth as well. Does anyone know what stillbirth is?
Is it when the baby is born directly?
Yeah, so when the baby's born, then they're dead as well. So that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has planned. And, you know, within families, that can be obviously very hurtful, but that's just how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created it to be. And that's just how it is, and that's just how it is planned. So now this is the embryo development. So obviously it goes from 4 to 20 weeks of how the baby is starting to come together now into a full grown baby. So the development of the fetus continues in the 4 months. The process of feeding the muscle of the skin with nerves connected to the brain is completed. thus receiving and executing orders from the brain. So obviously we start off as cells. So obviously as soon as you're pregnant, you start off with just being cells in the womb. And then obviously it starts to grow and all these different cells and impacts happen within those weeks. And as months go by, then you become a full-born baby, yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decide this was the way, like how to make children, how like a child goes into the womb? Like, is there a reason? No, I'm actually just curious. Is there a reason?
Yeah,
Or is it just like?
that's a good question. It's just how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. We can't question why he did what he did. You know, like we can just say, why did he give us arms here? Why did he give us eyes here? Like, why didn't he put it at the back of our head? Do you know what I mean? We don't know why he did those things, but he did it. And it's in the Quran as well. And it says sort of why he did it as well in the surah. So if you look at Surah Al-Mu'minun, it'll give you an idea of why he did those things, but that's just how it is.
I think it's probably for us to like also thank for what he's done, because we're made of like some dirty thing into something who we are today. Like our brain works, we can move our arms whenever we like, wake up, probably write, go play. So probably it's like for him to show one of his miracles, what he did to us, and like be thankful for him and what he's done.
Yeah, it really does show how thankful we are as well, and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us.
Yeah, that's a really good point that Imam made as well. Like Allah always reminds us in the Quran that he always reminds us where we've come from. He said you're created from a nutfa, and sometimes us as human beings we have arrogance.
Like to humble
And it
us.
humbles you, didn't
Yeah,
it? You realize where you come from such a dirty place. And it's like Miriam said as well, we can't question certain things. Like sometimes why does our girl have to have hair? Why do we have to shave it? It's a wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. Sometimes we don't know the answer to.
So the phases of biological development as described in the 21st century almost agree with the Quranic explanation of the issue as well. So the ever-glorious Quran has maintained accuracy and extreme attention to details that were not covered or reached by modern science. So how much scientists and science have looked into this, it cannot be what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has and what's written in the Quran, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything and has everything written in the Quran in detail about how it is. So all these scientists could say things, or in biology lessons when teachers tell you about it, they could be telling you all these things, but there'll always be something left out and missed out, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything, and it's all written in there and in the Quran, which Allah has made for us. So the Quran on human embryonic development. So what does the Quran say? So it was revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam almost 1,400 years ago, when people lacked the simplest means of inspection. So imaging or magnification, where legends all prevailed as well. So back then people thought that man was created all together at the same time, from the female's menstrual period or from the male semen, without any intermediate phase except for the growth in size. So people just believed what they wanted to believe in, and within time, when they found machinery and scanning the womb and checking it at certain months to see if it's healthy, so everyone has different tools and equipment to what they had back then. We've obviously got better equipment now, which we're able to use.
Apparently, I think in Japan that they're making babies now. Without
from machines or something like that.
you get to get to sign the skin for them.
But they can't still make the same.
So you get to choose
What
your baby looks like.
What?
Yeah, you get
It feels kind of but they can't still make that because Allah is like the signature of it.
Well, I don't know about that one. Yes, I don't know about that. In Japan?
Yeah, it's in Japan. They're trying to make like
So I guess that's
baby.
Yeah. So see how some guys. So if you see how people have developed in each country, and how in Japan as well, how they saying, "Oh, this is how their baby should look like." It's how people are updating themselves, but obviously that's not how it should be.
Yeah.
It does.
They haven't done it. They're still like trying to do it, but they haven't.
They do it with the sheets.
They're trying to do it, but they haven't done it.
Like your dad.
Oh, interesting. I never knew about that.
Because it's like
you know, I mean, like it wasn't big.
Yes, it's big. They're probably just like trying to.
What do they make the skin? Oh, it's called the designer.
A designer thing.
They can't still make the same. Like,
Okay. All right, guys. We need to move on now. Okay. So we're going to be looking at the hadith now. Shh. So Imam Muslim narrated from Hudayfa ibn Asad that the Prophet said, upon him and his house, blessings and peace, after the sperm and ovum drop, so nutfa has been in the uterus, so 42 days, Allah sends it an angel that gives it form and fashions its hearing, sight, skin, flesh, and skeleton. So reported by Imam Muslim. So obviously not everyone's going to have hearing and sight, so obviously the angels aren't always going to give every individual human being that, and obviously it shows how blessed we are that we're able to see everything and we're able to hear everything, we're able to speak as well, because obviously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't give that to every individual human being, because obviously we know some people that are blind or you know have difficulties, so it shows how blessed we are that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the sight and the hearing. So from the surah, Al-Mu'minun as well, he makes you in the wombs of your mothers in stages, one after another in 3 veils of darkness. So Abdullah ibn Masud narrated that the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, each one of you is constituted in the womb of the mother for 42 days, and then becomes a clot of thick blood for a similar period, and then a piece of flesh for a similar period. So he makes you in the wombs of your mothers in stages, one after another, in 3 veils of darkness. So this means that in every stage, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has planned it all out, literally, specifically, in detail, of each second of each day of each week of how you're developing in the womb. Okay, now we're going to be looking at some videos and then I'm going to be asking you what you have learnt.
I feel like the lyrics never work.
No, it shouldn't.
You just think that how you first to be
I'll share the video. Let's do.
That's how you work as well. I think it would like, on the, I think it's gonna work on this as well.
Leave it then. Come on.
She said to me, I'm sorry. Managed to get it open. Why don't you just copy it and put it onto YouTube then?
I did.
I don't know. What's
Yeah.
If you was what Michelle said that 1400 years ago, the prophets of Muhammad got had the Quran and it said how humans are formed with each like step, each kind of steps, and there's nothing really later who figured it out, and like they could have known back then because there were signs of anything.
Yeah. Where'd you learn? Yeah.
Religions.
Yeah. From the video or from the reminder so far. If it was too hard to understand or any scientific words, then
That's
So-
human embryos.
yeah, it's like a leap.
So I learned that in the Quran, like lots of evidence like how humans formed, but no one back then would possibly have known until like they only learned like very recently. It's just that shows that it's a true word.
And in that, like, every single step was in detail and written in the Quran, and no one knew anything about that at the time. So it was obviously
Zainab?
It should be balanced. The Quran is the word of God and it's the right thing because everything else written in it is what is true and what has been proven. Even though maybe like one of us has not been proven yet, but you know, in the future it probably will, and it just shows that there is just the truth.
I learned that the word falafel means blood clots suspended at the end.
Yeah, I was gonna say that as well.
All right, that's good. Okay, so now we're going to be doing an interactive segment. So in groups, search up a hadith or anything else that says in the Quran about the creation phase of a baby, anything to do with the topic that is formed in the womb, and explain what the hadith is saying. So some of the hadiths that I looked into, but look at extra hadith, any Quranic verses about it as well. So I think we'll do groups of, I think we'll half it actually. So we do one group here, one group here, and I'll give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Oh, I'll give it 2 minutes. So if we split it in half, so this group and then this group.
I don't know. I don't listen to that.
That's what I'm looking for. I don't know what I'm gonna do now. Where did these things start? When we is your sleeping routine. I've been a people. That's what yeah. Is it true? Wake up at night? Quintessence means.
Do you get? I think it means
Coffee.
the type of.
You know what quintessence means? Again, quintessence. What am I looking? The quintessence of time. Google it. Maybe it's like a form of clear.
Make sure they get involved as well.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, 1 more minute. Okay, guys, can everyone go in a circle now? Actually, we'll stay in the groups. Okay, 1 more minute. Okay. 1 more minute and then we'll get started.
more people always share me. So, it's fine. But a human being is not developing the knowledge and
Ten more seconds. Aisha. Okay. All right, guys. Okay, so we're gonna start off. We're gonna start off with this group. So tell me what hadith or Quranic verses that you got from this topic.
I don't think it's.
Guys.
I don't know if it's in the Quran or it's in the Hadith, but I know that it says that when that
Sure.
she did.
Oh, please listen. Thank you.
I know that when that kid passes away, when a mother loses a child, like when they leave the twins, because obviously they're pure, them children are reunited with their mother. So
Yeah.
it's something about the umbilical cord, but I can't remember, but it's just like they call their mother and their mother comes to them and they'll reunite with them. So basically that child will bring them to Jannah, even if you know you have like sins and stuff, but a child is like there to like bring them to Jannah. So yeah.
It's good. All right.
I searched my hadith, but yeah. So narrated by Abdullah bin Masud, Allah's apostle, the true and truly inspired said, the matter of the creation of a human being is put together in the womb of the mother in 40 days, and then he becomes a clot of thick blood for a similar period, and then a piece of flesh for a similar period. So like showing how Allah's like carefully like adding detail to our bodies and where to put it and where, for example, our eyes could be on our head. So more, so he's carefully putting it and like actually values us, even though we're like so low, like we're his slaves, but he gives importance to us and like he's showing his work of art in a way by valuing us, but by adding different body parts to our body, like eyes, nose, our hands, being able to stand, sit, sleep in a way, since it's so important. So it kind of shows like how we should be thankful and how Allah values us by adding these features to our
Yeah.
body.
That was really good. So it shows how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed our eyes, nose, mouth, and how it's supposed to be. Okay, so now going through the reflection. So we know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything, as mentioned in Surah Mu'minun. We know the development that happens in the womb, so how each week happens and how the baby is formed in the womb, and it is mentioned in the Quran, the Hadith, which we looked into the interactive segment. And we know how there are different phases and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us all the same. So all of us have been created the same, and no matter how you become as a baby, all of us are developed the same. Okay, so now we're going to be going through the quiz. I will be picking on people now. So first question, explain 3 of the phases of the development in the womb. Fatima. Yeah. Second question, what does the Quran say about how the fetus is formed? Aisha. Second question, what does the Quran say about how the fetus is formed? Michelle?
They have, it's like, doesn't it say something about lots of like players and making to bones and they clearly bring it back. But what can you? It
So
says,
the second question. So what does the Quran say about how the fetus is formed? Okay. Anyone else? Amina?
Isn't it how like, you know, we're made from like a dirty fluid and then we get, you know, like transformed into like, you know, how you have everything else, you know, yeah.
Yeah. And also the form of clay as well, which how a man is created. Question 3. What did Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say about it? So to say that through one of the slides. Hadia,
Basically,
the third question.
did he say that, how it was formed?
That's what, yeah. Yeah. Question 4. What is the embryology of the Quran? So what does the Quran say about it? So go for Hajra.
that, basically how the, like, the human is formed.
Yeah. What is the hadith? So I already looked into hadith, so man, do you want to say yours again?
So was it like throughout the period of 40 days, our flesh becomes in a similar period and also our blood?
Yeah. Last question. What are we made of? Zainab. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to end with a dua. It's about the creation of mankind. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هل أتى على الإنسان حين من دحر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا إنا خلقنا الإنسان من نطفة أمشاج تبتليه فجعلناه سميعا بصيرا إنا هديناه السبيل إما شاكرا وإما كفورا. Has there not come upon man a period of time when he was not a thing, even mentioned? Indeed, we created man from a sperm drop mixture that we made to try him, and we made him hearing and seeing. Indeed, we guided him to the way, but be he grateful or be he ungrateful. So now that is the end of the presentation. Jazakallah khair for listening and stay tuned to next week's topic.